Hey, I'm Tony. I'm one member of the outlets, and today I'm going to show you how I make my parodies. I can't speak on behalf of Nate, who is pretty much the main voice of this channel, but I know he does things somewhat similar to what I do, so let's just do it. First things first, the other day we got a comment. Let me go find it. And they said, I'm curious how you guys make these. Do you record the lyrics and put the song or instrumental in the background, or do it all at the same time, and how long does it take to make? And I had responded to this, and I mentioned at the end that it would be fun just to put a quick video together, so that's what this is going to be today. Now, the best way to go over this is to obviously just make a parody. So I already recorded myself making an entire parody, and I'm just going to run through all the steps of it for you. So for me, I have a document. My document has a whole bunch of songs that I want to do, and I color code them so I know which songs I did, which ones are done, which ones are in the process, and which ones I need to re-record. You really don't need to do this. This is just because I plan on making more for fun. But once you figure out what song you're looking at, what I do is I pull up two tabs. I use Opera GX. They have a multi-tab function. It's perfect for this. Makes it a lot easier than opening up two browsers for it. And what you can do is put tabs next to each other. So I'll have one tab, which is a new document, which is the actual lyrics I'm going to write. And then the second tab is going to be on the browser itself. And that's going to be the actual lyrics. And then I just start putting in the lyrics to my songs. Now, you might think, oh, do I need to have an idea of the lyrics I'm going to do beforehand? Do I need to have, like, my song name idea? Do I need anything to start? No, you really don't. Just go in with a positive attitude in the song that you like and you want to do, and just start going at it. My two biggest things that I can say that will help you out: make sure your syllable counts are accurate to the normal song, and make sure it flows properly. Now for me, sometimes I don't care about the flow, so I'll just go with the syllable count, because I'd rather just have silly lyrics having to talk about Minecraft, rather than actually making it sound good. But sometimes you can have a flow that breaks the syllable count, and it ends up sounding a lot better than if you had the proper syllable count. So really, it's up to your vision. What do you want to accomplish? What are you going to do? And it also helps to have the song open with you. So usually I'll also open Spotify and have the song right there so I can just play it whenever I need. Hit a quick play, listen through a verse. Alright, that's what it sounds like. Give myself a refresher, and then start doing the lyrics. And you might think, oh, well, how do I know what lyrics to write? What do you do? What do you do when it comes to actually figuring out what lyrics you want to write down? For me, it helps to come up with like a fake storyline. I don't know. Just something random. Just to be like, oh, this is a situation where I like playing the game with somebody, so I'm gonna write it as if it's the viewpoint of like, oh, I'm playing with someone, and the reason I play is because they're there and I enjoy what they specifically do. And then I just write about it. It's really not hard. If you want to take the easy route, just throw buzzwords everywhere. Mining, crafting, building, diamonds, iron, coal, Minecraft, literally whatever you want. That you'll see that in basically 99% of the parodies is just the same words rehashed in different ways to different songs. My personal favorite parodies we do are when it's not just, oh, here's buzzword after buzzword. It is when we have actual ideas behind it that change it up a little bit. So after I get the lyrics done, what I'll then do is I'll go and I find two things on YouTube. I will download an instrumental version of the song, and I'll download a non-instrumental version, aka the original. And if you can't find an instrumental version, you can also kind of just extract that yourself. I'm not going to make a video on that because it's more time consuming. I don't remember the whole process, but you can put it in Audacity and put it through a quick like filter on there. It'll try to get rid of the lyrics for you, and then you'll have your own instrumental track. Because what I'm doing at the end of the day is taking rips of the original song that just extract the vocals, and then that's it. We're not like an actual band putting together all the stuff for this. Hence, every video we make is copyright claimed and will not make money. At least not for us. Now you might be thinking, why would you download two different versions of the song? Why not just one? Well, when we open up our audio program, for me that's Audacity. I believe Nate uses the same one. What I'll do is I'll put both of them in there as separate tracks, and I'll name the instrumental one, and the other one I'll just leave. But I personally find it significantly easier to record myself singing with the original song. That way I can make sure my timing with the song is right. Now, For any of you out there who might try also doing this on your own, you might run into audio syncing issues, and you'll realize you'll record and then suddenly it's just not synced up with what you're hearing versus what you're saying, even though you think you're doing it right. Whatever program you're in, you're going to want to sync that up. I know in Audacity you can put together, just this video is also not going to go over this in depth or anything, but you can put together some click noises. I believe it's like a rhythm soundtrack or something. Take your headphones, your audio, put it up to your microphone, play it back, record that, and then sync up in the settings. It's really not that hard. Just look up how to do it and they'll run you through it. You might also be thinking, do I need some like a high grade equipment or whatever? Do I need a $200 microphone? What do I need for this? Just do whatever. Just have fun with it. You could use like a laptop's audio if you want, if you really want to do it. If you want it to sound good, you probably do want like a $100 microphone, don't get me wrong. But of course, that's up to you. What kind of microphone you have, what kind of equipment you have, what your goal is, what you're going to do with it. The actual recording process, because I use Audacity, I'll open up my lyrics next to Audacity that I have written, minimize my instrumental track, play the original track over it, and then I will add my own individual tracks for my audio. At this point, I'll start recording, singing over it, and I'll just keep doing retake after retake until I think it sounds decent enough to work. Can we build this village? You don't know, mining more than... Usually, I'll leave blemishes in there that don't sound good, because it is just silly parodies at the end of the day, and I think it's funnier when it doesn't sound perfect every step of the way. But don't be afraid to make multiple tracks. You don't have to sing it all in one go. Little tip here, guys, don't sing it all in one go. You're gonna run out of breath. Some songs are definitely not recorded in one go, I'll tell you that much. You can really tell when it's like, okay, they recorded this track and then they recorded another one to blend into it, because if you're trying to sing it all at once, it doesn't sound nearly as good as the actual outcome is. So make different tracks. If you cannot keep your breath going between verses, or that it's just very quick between verses, record a verse, cut it there, make a separate track, record on the other track from before. You pick this up all over time. These are very simple little tips and tricks you'll pick up very quickly when you try to do this. Now, after you record everything, that's typically it. You put your tracks together, record it, maybe adjust your audio a little bit, maybe increase some of the audio volume, decrease some of the audio volume, do whatever you need. Try to reduce clipping as much as you can. I've only recently been starting to actually pay attention to how much I clip my microphone when I'm doing these. And just record until you like what you hear, basically. Personally, I don't really like how I sound, but I got over that after, a couple dozen attempts and hours of recording YouTube videos and doing different things for content. But at this point, you could be done after you record all your initial audio, and you might just kind of get a very plain sounding track, and that's okay. Audacity, free audio software. It's pretty good. You can even go in, add some effects. If you want to really get into Audacity, you can start looking for free plugins, look for plugins people have made for effects and whatnot. I don't really care enough to do that. I'll use some of the included effects. Personally, I have a different software I like to use called Vocaloid, because I don't finish here. This, I think, would be a little sloppy to post now, because every song pretty much has some level of an effect thrown onto someone's voice. People don't naturally sound just absolutely batshit incredible most of the time, in 90% of the cases, right? There's usually some kind of effect. People will still sound incredible without effects, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the time there's some level of reverb applied, or a chorus, or a flanger, or a phaser, or an echo, or a distortion effect. There's always something that usually gets applied somewhere in an audio. So my next portion, after recording the lyrics, is I will export all of my tracks in Audacity as separate audio tracks. If you're doing this yourself, there will be a little option when you're exporting. When you go to export, your export range should be selected is multiple files. This will export each of your tracks separate files, and I believe they keep the name of whatever track you put. So if you want to keep track, because you have a million different audio files, you can name them as you go and then import them into a DAW of your choosing. I know Ableton Live would be a good one. That's the only one I can think of. I don't have those. I have something called Vocaloid, which is not really a DAW. For those who don't know, that's Digital Audio Workplace, I'm pretty sure. But instead, this is a very different software meant for something called Vocaloid, which, for those who don't know, I'm not going to really go into in-depth explaining because it's weird and convoluted, and it's far out of the scope of Western media. We're going to jump over to that software, and I'll show you what I do here, because you can translate what I do here into other softwares. Just, it's going to look different, and I do a little bit of extra things that's specific to this software. So Vocaloid is a voice bank software. This is something that, if you've ever heard of Hatsune Miku, that's what gets used on here. And you can get into the nitty-gritty and say, well, Miku's not technically a Vocaloid, it's a blah blah blah. I don't care. I'm calling her a Vocaloid because it's what she's always been. Now, you can't record directly in the Vocaloid, which is why I use Audacity. But I'll export my files and then put them into here as separate tracks. And why I like to put them in here is because, one, it is significantly easier to manipulate the audio in Vocaloid than it is in Audacity. Now, I should probably say this software is like $100+, so this is not very beginner entry level sort of fee. You know, you can find free alternatives, but this has a lot more you can do with it because it has all the Vocaloid baked into it. With that said, it's a lot easier to manipulate your audio here, in my opinion, than it is in Audacity. So I prefer to add my effects in here, mixed in with, I just like the simplicity of the effects that are baked into this software without having to do anything else. I think that not only are they easy to sort of mess with and manipulate, but they give you a lot of variety in the way that you can mess with them. So I'll put my audio in here, I'll chop it up, and I start adding my effects, which, if you're looking in the background, is just kind of me going through each track and basically adding little bits. I'll listen back to the actual song, see where they kind of maybe use echoes, where they use anything else, and I'll start messing with that and adding it here, adding reverb, distortion, anything like that. And because it's easier to mess with the audio here, if I maybe had some kind of timing bad listening back, I'll chop it, move it over a little bit, and then it's synced properly. And of course, my biggest pro to using Vocaloid, which is one of the big reasons I do like to mess with this, is I can add voice after it without re-recording or recording my own thing. And I think that you can just get a more variety of sounds out of it. And it's gonna be really weird to explain this because it's not normal. You know, Nate doesn't do any of this. I exclusively do this just because I wanted to mess with it. But this will add a lot of work to a project if you mess with Vocaloid at all, because it is a voice bank, and you have to manipulate each syllable of the voice banks to do what you want. So when I'm adding sort of background harmonies, and I maybe don't like the way my voice sounds, and I want something higher pitched or so, you know, whatever the case is, I'll throw a Vocaloid voice in there. My number one example is always going to be Hatsune Miku, which I did do for this song. I added a little bit of background noise, adjusted that accordingly throughout the song. I added a little bit of sort of harmonizing. I don't even know if harmonizing is the right word. She just sings along with me at certain points. And I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of how to use this software either. If someone comments asking about, hey, how the hell do you use this software? I'll tell you. I'll make another video describing how to actually use the software because I still am learning, and there's so much you can do with this software. It's insane. Another thing you can do with Vocaloid 6 specifically is there are these AI voices you can use that if you record your voice, you can actually translate it into an AI voice. It will mimic what you say as these voice banks voices, which is really cool. And I use that on a different song that has yet to be released, and it doesn't sound perfect, but I think it's funny because now instead of just recording my own voice lines for like a million things and you just hear my same voice every time, I'll throw like an AI voice over it that's mimicking everything I say, and then I can also tweak that to what I want, and then I just have more options. Basically, I'm using another software just so I have more options. That's really it. But when I finish everything in here, re-listen to it all, make sure I think it sounds okay, make sure everything sounds like it's synced up right, make sure I got all my background audio, blah blah blah, and then that's it. I'll export the audio here, and I don't upload them immediately because I do work with my friends in this group. My buddy Nate specifically is like the #1 guy here, and we try to make sure we're not posting really quick in between because we're gonna end up just running out of content to get out. We go for like he shoots for every 2 weeks. I've been kind of just like, maybe like once a week or something. But whenever I upload this video, I'll upload this song that I am showing you maybe 2 or 3 days after. So stay tuned if you actually want to hear the full version of this parody. Anyway, I hope this was fun. If you have any comments, questions, or anything like that, leave them on the video and I'll get back to you. Maybe I'll make a follow-up video going over questions or whatever the case might be. But yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed. Let people know if you want. I don't care. Up to you, really. A genuine thank you for a moment here, because we've never actually done something like this. It's our first video outside of our very scuffed first couple of videos where we're not just making parodies, and I'm speaking directly to you, the audience. So if you have watched this far, thank you very much. And if you are actually a fan of our parodies, which we find it crazy, there are people that actually do enjoy watching each of the videos we post, and genuinely, thank you. We've never actually said that. So we hope maybe we can branch out and make parodies alongside some other videos or something. So thank you. Take care. Hopefully this is helpful. Bye bye.